And then Icarus flew too close to the sun, and the wax holding together his wings melted, and he fell and died a horrible death. We're talking myths. In particular, we're talking myths about blogging. And today we're going to talk about why blogging doesn't necessarily help your SEO. But first, two things. I was not actually reading Icarus then. That was a copy of The Muddle-Headed Wombat, which is the book I had closest by. The next thing is I have gotten a haircut since the last video, so that is particularly exciting. Hopefully now I won't get any comments about looking like Ross Geller, and I can carry on with my life unimpeded. My name is Chris Hargraves, and I am from digitalmarketingforlawyers.com, and we're talking about blogging, and in particular, what, if any, effect blogging has on SEO. So sometime along the sort of chain, the spectrum of blogging, a suggestion was put out that if you blog regularly on your website, that will help your search engine optimization efforts. And it is pretty much untrue. But why is it untrue? Surely somewhere along the way you've heard this story that if you blog every day, or if you blog regularly once a week, or if you just blog consistently, once you have this huge bank of articles on your website, that you will be doing better in search engine results. I'm guessing you've heard that. When I speak with lawyers at a certain point along their journey, they've heard that, and that's been part of the slightly blurry set of reasons that they have decided to attempt to blog regularly in the first place. The problem is that it is not really true. If it ever was true, it doesn't really matter. It's not true now. And the reason for that comes back to one word, which we're going to get to in a second. But before I get to that, we better define blogging, okay? We're lawyers, we better put a definition about what is a blog post and what is not a blog post. So when I'm talking about blogging, I'm talking about it in the slightly more traditional sense. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about shorter, say 300, 500, 600, 700 word sort of pieces designed to just share a thought on a particular topic, not necessarily to be a sort of booklet about any given thing, just generally there to tick over and stay in touch with people on a variety of different things and express yourself in a particular way. If you don't know where blog comes from, it's just a mashing together of the words web and log, okay? So think of it as used to be like a type of journaling, basically. Weblog, blog, we're all lazy. We didn't want to keep saying weblog because it was sounded almost as silly as blog does. So that's what I'm talking about with blogging, that kind of short form, roll the arm over effort. Yes, I know lawyers put more effort into it than that, but that's sort of what we're getting at. Now, why doesn't that help SEO? The word that I promised to tell you before that we need to focus upon for search engine optimization is authority. Okay, think about what, for a moment, Google wants to deliver people. Google has fundamentally only one purpose in life, and that is, as much as possible, to deliver to people the results that are most likely to be the kinds of results that they wanted, having regard to their search terms. Okay, that is no small ask and takes into account a bunch of different things, and that's why SEO specialists will have a lot going on and often look a little bit frazzled as they try to keep up with everything. But if we just draw it all back to one fundamental thing, we can draw it back today to authority. And now think about my definition of blog and what a lot of lawyers do with that sort of short form sharing, and think about whether that is likely to be authoritative on any given topic. 3 ways to save tax this year, 5 ways that you can spend less money on litigation, how to win at court in 500 words or less. That sort of little, I'll call them puff pieces. That's not intended to be derogatory, but it is just less comprehensive treatments of particular topics have a tendency not to be authoritative. And I'm sure you have found this as well. If you're searching for something, you don't generally want it to be a surface level treatment of the particular item. So we have authority in 2 different ways that we can look at it, okay? We have authority in the sense of the article itself So what you are writing, is this article a comprehensive treatment of its particular topic? So far as Google can tell, bearing in mind that Google is sort of an algorithm just crawling its way through your website. So as far as it can tell, is this an authoritative treatment of a topic? Does it deal with all of the related sorts of things in one particular article or in linked articles, depending on what your strategy is? And we won't get into that for the moment. But let's talk about one article for the moment. If you're going to blog, say, about how to save tax as a small business owner, and you're going to try and pack that into 500 words, I'm sure you'll know already intuitively that that is not going to be a comprehensive treatment of that topic. The reason is that that topic is far more complicated than 500 words will allow you to do that in. So test one, we've got this on-page situation. Is this an authoritative treatment of the topic? And if the answer is no, then it's less likely that Google is going to consider it as such, obviously, because it's not. Now, of course, we've got the other thing about authority, which is, what do other people think of? A, your site, that is your whole site generally, and B, this particular article in relation to the topic which it is proposing to deal with. And this is where links come in. You will have heard about links and link building and backlinks and all that sort of stuff, but basically links are an indication of authority. If you write the comprehensive guide to all things related to construction law in Brisbane, which is going to be a long document, and it is so authoritative that you manage to get 1,000 other people within the construction industry linking to that article as the best source ever for this particular topic. Self-evidently, as Google follows those links and they all point towards your website, they go, hang on, well, actually, this person must know what they're talking about, or this number of other legitimate people would not be pointing back to them as an authoritative source. And so it will raise you in the search engine results. That is essentially what we need to balance. Okay, now SEO is way more complicated than that, but think about it in terms of authority and then compare it to your blogging efforts and think, okay, does my blogging meet either of those tests? The answer is probably no if it's a normal blogging strategy. So the follow-up question to this, of course, is, does that mean blogging is fundamentally useless in all ways? That's a more difficult question because SEO is, of course, not the only reason that you're likely to be blogging in the first place. There are various branding reasons, there are various personality reasons, there are various authenticity reasons, there are various trust reasons, and there are various communication reasons that blogging might still be a good strategy for you. But if your principal purpose in blogging, and blogging in that way I described earlier, is for search engine optimization, then I think you need to rethink that strategy because it's probably not doing anything. And there's a risk as you fill your site with, I'll call it weak content from an SEO perspective, there's a chance that actually it could be damaging to your site authority as you water down, you dilute the authoritative posts on your site with all of this other shorter stuff. So you've got to balance up these various different purposes. And I've said it before, you need to think about why you're doing something. And if blogging and SEO have somehow been connected in your mind, I'd encourage you to disconnect them and treat them as two different strategies with different mindsets and different purposes and different outcomes that you can hope to achieve. That is all I had to say. I'm not going to get into everything there is to know about search engine optimization, or this would be much longer than it is reasonable to be. So I'm going to hang up there on you. Have a delightful day wherever it is you are listening. Do not forget to subscribe. And if you need any help, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll see you next time.